One major aspect of mathematics that has changed over time is our mathematical number system and notation. No one can deny the importance of a number system in mathematics. Without it, there would be no organization or understanding. Our base 10 number system is the foundation of mathematics in our world today, and it provides structure. Notation has changed over time as civilization and society changed, and it is very interesting to look back and evaluate how notation has gradually transformed into what we use today. The earliest marks are believed to have originated 33 to 37,000 years ago. These tally marks were found on bones, a famous bone being the Shango bone from Zaire. Each tally mark represented a single unit. The Mesopotamians used a clay tallying jar and tokens around 3300 BC. The Chinese used a number system that was similar to the tally system. This is referred to as the rod number system, and it was a positional system. The numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all represented by vertical bars. The full numerical numerations were written in 2 lines to indicate numerical value, unit of measurement, and order of magnitude. The Chinese developed a counting board which consisted of a checkerboard with rows and columns. Numbers were represented by rods that were made of bamboo or ivory. This counting board led to the invention of the abacus in 14th century AD. Instead of using rods, numbers were now represented by beads sliding on a wire. More than 5,000 years ago, the Babylonians created a number system that was in base 60. They inherited ideas from the Sumerians and the Akkadians. It is believed that this is where our hours, minutes, and seconds scheme comes from. This number system was positional. Numbers are arranged in columns, and they only used 2 different symbols. One symbol represented the number 1, and the other symbol represented the number 10. The place values went like this: 60 to the 4th, 60 to the 3rd, 60 squared, and 60 to the 1st. They used spaces between the different place values in order to make the distinction. No 0 was put into the empty place value. However, later on, the Babylonians did invent a symbol that indicated an empty space or 0. The Babylonians wrote on clay tablets using a stylus.
In 3000 BC, the Egyptians used different symbols for the different powers of 10. They had no place value system. These numbers did not form a positional system, so they could be written in any order. The symbol for 1 was a vertical stroke, 10 was a heel bone, 100 was a coiled rope, 1000 was a lotus flower, 10,000 was a bent finger, 100,000 was a tadpole, and 1,000,000 was a kneeling figure of the ancient god named Hay. The Egyptians would have needed an efficient number system to build their great pyramids. They needed to figure out how much stone they needed and when they would need it. They also had to calculate how much food they needed in order to feed the many workmen. The Egyptians knew how to add and multiply with these symbols, and they even had symbols to represent fractions. They didn't have any symbol to stand for 0. The hieroglyphics were mainly carved into stone. When the Egyptians discovered papyrus, they developed a different set of symbols called hieratic numerals. These symbols were more like cursive, and they replaced several groups of symbols with individual ones. These symbols are used in the Rhind papyrus and the Moscow papyrus.
In Central America, the Mayans created a number system that was in base 20 with 19 distinct signs and a symbol for 0 that looked like an eye. This is believed to have come from the ancient people counting their fingers and toes. Numbers in the Mayan system can be written vertically or horizontally. Romans developed a number system that is still common in our society today, the Roman numerals. For example, 3 vertical bars represent the number 3, V represents the number 5, 1 vertical bar followed by a V represents the number 4, and X represents the number 10. The Romans combined letters from the Latin alphabet to signify values. These numerals remained in common use until about the 14th century, when they were outmoded by the Hindu-Arabic system.
Our common Hindu-Arabic numeral system that is used today is believed to have originated in India. From an earlier system, India retained 9 symbols for the numbers 1 through 9. The most famous contribution they made to mathematics is their decimal numeration system. This decimal system is still used today. By the year 600, Indian mathematicians were using a base 10 place value system. It was easy to use and much more efficient for arithmetic than previous methods. The famous Arab mathematician Al-Khwarizmi wrote a book about how to use this decimal place value system, and this book was a major source for Europeans that wanted to learn this new numeration system. It is so interesting to go back in time and see what mathematical number systems and notation was used a long time ago. It is hard to fathom what life would be like if we still used tally marks or counting rods like the first mathematicians did. Technology and other advancements have made significant changes to mathematics since the time of counting boards and the abacus. Mathematics continues to advance and change every year, so it is hard to fathom what will be different in the years to come. It is important to appreciate all the recent advancements and improvements that have been made in mathematics, but it is also important to acknowledge what has been done from the very beginning. We are now able to expand on the work of others in the past, but the very first mathematicians had to start from scratch with no opportunity to look at other people's research. Mathematics builds off of earlier mathematics, so we need to value and be knowledgeable about the methods that were first developed.